hears this crunching sound, right? And the dogs are yipping and circling a tree, doing whatever was going off, right? And then, from what the story says, is that the boy was at the tree, and out of the corner of the tree, or out of the corner of his peripherals, a large creature stepped out from behind the tree, and Kyle said that he had a coyote in his mouth, right? And Kyle, again, says that he went into a semi-state of shock, right? And he described the creature as being a typical, I wouldn't say atypical Dogman description. 6 to 7 feet tall is the height you normally hear, right? This one had red eyes. When I've spoken to, I think it was Tim Gayhart from the Ohio Bigfoot Research, he's seen them with yellow eyes. Harley Owens down in Tennessee said he's seen them with, during the daytime. I've also heard, other people talk about they've seen them and they've had red eyes. And then when I did a research down from ones that I've seen in Texas, they had yellow eyes, right? So with that whole thing that was going on back and forth with that, I've heard them have red eyes, yellow eyes, and I've even heard one story of them having blue eyes, right? But he said he saw red eyes, and it kind of freaked him out a little bit, and he kind of went into like a little state of shock. The creature, two different tellings that I've heard of this story was as the creature first stood at him and made eye contact with him. The other ones were saying that the creature came out, was extremely aggressive, and came at the boy and took off, right? So I have two different, and the reason why I had equally the amount of reports that both things happened, right? So we're just going to go with it that for the sake of this channel, he saw a Dogman with a coyote in his mouth, and the Dogman came at him in some sort of way, to the point of the fact that basically it freaked him out. And he broke out. He took off running, which is, again, fight or flight kicks in. This is a 15-year-old boy. And he started hauling back to the direction that he came from from his truck with his grandfather, I'm sorry. But one thing that both stories, tellings of the stories that I heard from multiple locations is that the Dogman gave chase. So whether it came at him aggressively first, or if it stood there and saw him first or whatever, but there was a foot race that broke out between this kid and this Dogman. Now, as he was taking off down, heading back to the truck where his grandfather was at, he said that within about 15 to 20 feet, this thing had closed on him, and he felt that he was about to get snatched up. But his biggest dog, I think it was Jake, attacked the Dogman along the way. And he could hear the Dogman and Jake, the other dog, get into a big fight. But he didn't look back, right? He just kept on running, kept on running, kept on running, kept on running. And it didn't really go into too much detail how far he had to run back to the truck before he got to his grandfather. But it's safe to say that based on the capabilities of a man to run through the woods, I don't know if you've ever been in the woods early in the morning or not, but I've been in the woods early in the morning, and I've literally had squirrels scare me to the point where I've almost, my heart had pounded out, right? Like, everybody's a brave guy until you've had to go to a deer stand at 4 o'clock in the morning in the woods. It's terrifying. Or walk out of the woods at 4 o'clock in the morning. It's terrifying. So in my mind, I just made up that based on the distance and stuff like that, he was 1.5 miles out, right? And this wasn't a clean run, according to Kyle. He fell through the bushes. He was looking over his shoulders. He ran into a tree. He fell down. He slipped. He stumbled. I mean, this kid took a little beating along the way getting back to the truck, right? He was going through it, right? And as he was moving along and he was running down this actually made me kind of sad when I read this, right? But stay with me till the end on this. He was torn between the love of his dog and what he saw. So some stories were saying that he was calling out, like calling for his dogs to come. Some of them were screaming say that he was just screaming for help, 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 right? You know how it is, man. When freaking stories that get told, they get spliced up along the way. But either way, this boy was worried about his dog, but his dogs. At the same time, he was worried about this thing that he had just saw in the wilderness, right? So as the chase was going down, he was breaking through the woods and it stumbling. So in my mind, it had to be less than half a mile, right? A full out sprint, half a mile back to the truck, which is a long distance through the wood. It's not like a track where you're running on flat, level ground. You're running through the woods, at dawn. It's pretty challenging. He's falling around, he's kicking, hitting some tree limbs or whatever. He's worried about his dogs. All of a sudden, the truck comes into view. He sees his truck with his grandfather, right? Rushes to the truck, dives into the truck, man, and starts having like basically a semi panic attack, or just speaking incredibly fast to his grandfather, right? He's telling his grandfather like, hey, look, we got to go. Something's going on. His grandfather's like, what's going on? And again, this is where I got conflicting reports, but I can imagine the conversation being something like, I just saw X, Y, and Z. This happened. I just saw this crazy looking creature out there, this Dogman type situation out there, werewolf, whatever he described it. And then the grandfather, two different versions that I was told, that the grandfather casually started the car and left. The other side of the story that I heard, that the grandfather didn't start the car, but had the same conversation that he had with the first story. The first version I heard of this story from like 3 or 4 sources was that he drove home, and before they got out of the truck, he had the conversation I'm about to tell you. The other version of the story was he didn't drive away, and he had the versions of the conversation that I'm about to tell you with right now. So his grandfather had told him that if he's going to hunt these woods, he's going to have come to grips that there are certain things in these woods that cannot be explained. And that he told them that him, and not only him, but his great, uncle, what I guess it was his grandfather's brother, had experiences in these wilderness with something that they referred to as Old Slewfoot, right? OLE Slewfoot. Now, remember that name. I'm going to double back to you on the second and go into more detail on that, right? And so he basically just confirmed by telling, the young man that, that they've encountered some things out here. His uncle had encountered it, and he had encountered it when he was in these woods hunting. And this was a part of life. It's part of their way of life that he was saying.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.